Thank you very much, ma'am. Very distinguished Honorable Justice Dalveer Bhandari ji, distinguished Justice T.S. Thakur ji, our conscience and environment keeper, Justice Swatantra Kumar ji, a very old dear friend, colleague in the government as Solicitor General, and a very, very eminent lawyer, Shri Ranjit Kumar ji, Shashi Shekhar, who's doing excellent work in the Environment Ministry. I see a number of very eminent jurists from around the world, very distinguished audience before me today. And I also find a lot of enthusiastic young boys and girls whom I'm most delighted to see participating in this very important conference on global environment issues. A very, very good afternoon to all of you, ladies and gentlemen. I was just going through the conference brochure, and very appropriately it begins by some words from Mahatma Gandhi ji. Very truly, it's a matter of great satisfaction and great joy for all of us that Mahatma Gandhi ji's statue has been unveiled only yesterday in Parliament Square, and poetically nearly next to Winston Churchill's statue. And in a way, the father of the nation has always stood for environment issues. He always spoke very passionately about environment. I remember his words that ultimately the earth provides enough to satisfy every human need, every man's need, but not every man's greed. And I think that's where the complexities of environmental damage, environmental degradation start from. There cannot be any doubt that environment is extremely important. One has to protect the environment, but one can balance development and environmental issues. You can have development without destruction. Honorable Prime Minister is on record more often than once to tell us about his own passion for leaving behind a cleaner planet for the next generation. Very clearly, the issues related to environment for him are an article of faith, not some pressure, not some compulsion that was decided in Lima or that will possibly be decided in Paris. It's not about setting targets. It's about actual action on the ground, not only to demonstrate your own conviction when it comes to the environment or environment protection, but also because it is something you passionately believe in. And unless somebody has a sincerity of purpose, one can always satisfy the legal requirements, but it's only with sincerity, with deep commitment, that one will go beyond the letter of the law into the spirit of the law, as the Honorable Justices often articulate in their judgments. And in that sense, I can place on record before all of you, ladies and gentlemen, that this government stands for a cleaner and better environment in letter and in spirit. And that is the aim towards which all of us are working, whether in the Environment Ministry, whether in the energy sector, whether in the infrastructure sectors. And together, we believe we will be able to balance the development imperatives of India, the need for a cleaner and greener India as we go along, protecting the environment, but sustaining development, sustaining infrastructure creation, sustaining job generation, making India more energy secure, leaving behind a brighter and a greener India for the next generation. Towards that end, our own ministry, the Ministry of New and Renewable Energy, has given a renewed thrust to the renewable energy program. We had a solar mission which we inherited, which talked of about 20,000 megawatt of solar energy by 2022. One of the first tasks before me was to rewrite this mission. And I'm delighted to inform you, ladies and gentlemen, this government has decided to expand renewable energy 5 times to 175,000 megawatts in the next 5 or 6 years. And that for us is true demonstration of our commitment to a clean environment, a better India to live in. The solar component of that alone is being expanded from 20 gigawatts to 100 gigawatts, 100,000 megawatt of solar energy. The wind component will be about 60,000 megawatt. We'll have small hydro plants of about 5,000 megawatts and various other non-conventional sources, bioenergy, cogeneration, biomass, all of them put together at about 10,000 megawatt. And this, ladies and gentlemen, you'll be happy to know, will expand our actual output from green sources, from renewable sources, from 60 billion units at present. We are doing 60 billion out of 1 trillion units, which is about 6%, to 300 billion units. That's a 5-time growth, and we'll take up the renewable energy component of India's power mix from 6% to 15% of the expanded power base, where we'll be producing 2 trillion units to satisfy the great needs for energy. We still have nearly 280 million people who are deprived of a basic need such as power, such as electricity. We have to reach power to these 280 million people. We have to make sure industry, businesses, all of them get adequate power. We have to ensure the nation's development cycle does not suffer for lack of power. And towards that end, this government stands committed to 24/7 energy access, power access to every Indian in this country, and within that, to have an expanded base of renewable and clean energy. We have received global recognition from across the world for India's efforts in this direction. And I can inform you that while we were at Davos this year, early in January, the entire world, leaders from different parts of the world, from the business side, from governments, were fascinated at the India's emerging story as a superpower for developing renewable energy, for making India a more secure nation when it comes to our energy needs, and for ensuring a cleaner future for the young boys and girls who are sitting here. We have received an overwhelming response from all across the world. We have green energy commitments which total to 266 gigawatt, far in excess of our target over the next 5 or 7 years. And we are looking at innovative financing models which strengthen my resolve to be able to achieve these challenging targets in the next 5 years. We believe the energy sector's role is to link environment with empowerment, with employment, and with the economy. We have to empower the people of India to stand on their own feet, to become self-reliant, to have working opportunities, expand industrialization and businesses, to provide new job opportunities for the young people of India. We have to ensure adequate job opportunities as we go along for the teeming underemployed and unemployed people. And simultaneously, we have to ensure that this economic growth is not at the cost of environmental degradation. However, it's very important that we also recognize that sometimes a judicial overreach or a sensationalization of a particular subject can cause more damage than good. I don't know if I've shared this earlier with you, Dr. Swatantra Kumar, and your environmental team. But take the case of a hill station in India, be it Shimla, be it Mussoorie, be it Mahabaleshwar. In the name of environment, we restrict construction activities in the hill stations. So Mahabaleshwar in the last 30 years has not had any new construction of roads or infrastructure because we believe we should not damage the hills. But in a growing people, the people's aspiration for a night out, for a weekend out, the aspiration to go and take some leisure in a hill station, you find that more and more people are going towards the hills, particularly in the summer months. And an expanded tourist arrival in these hill stations is only causing huge traffic jams, is only causing huge amount of fumes from diesel and petrol cars that are driven there, is only causing distress and damaging the environment far more than whatever you have been able to save because of your law which says you cannot construct anything in the hill stations or in the hills. Now, I believe pragmatic judicial review of the existing restrictions is necessary, is the need of the hour to come to terms with whether our actions, while we are talking of protecting the environment, our actions to ostensibly save the environment are actually achieving that purpose or it is damaging that purpose. When you hear of cases where large plants with investment running into billions of dollars get stuck when there is a small approval of a forest, maybe less than 1 acre, 5 acre, 10 acre forest, which could lead to billions of dollars of investments, lead to thousands and hundreds of thousands of jobs directly and indirectly, all getting affected because of the laws being restrictive to an extreme extent. It can be nobody's case that one damages the forest, but it should be the case that whether there is a forest or no, how serious is the impact of this, of the forest that is used. When power transmission has to reach the remote areas of India, north, south, east, west, we need power to go right from Kanyakumari right up to Ladakh. Now, all of that is going to need power transmission lines. We have to take a call whether we are going to allow power transmission or we are going to be ostrich in our approach. That no, we will not allow any development to happen going through maybe a sanctuary, maybe a forest, maybe in many cases, I am given to understand, just because something was categorized a forest some 100 years ago and continue to remain so in the records, no development activity can take place. We have a case in Mumbai where there are hundreds of thousands of people living in the area of eastern suburbs, which suddenly got into a problem because of some court ruling that it was a forest. There are hundreds and thousands of people living there. There cannot be a forest. It's a concrete jungle, if at all. And then you create a problem that no, all the people there either have to be displaced, all the people have to leave their homes, construction activity which is already underway comes to a stop. Thousands of people like you and me who may have bought a house there to live there are suddenly left in the lurch. And these are the type of instances which to my mind do more damage to the environmental protection, to efforts to raise consciousness amongst the people of India to have a safe and secure environment than do any good. I believe the time has come we map out India's forest cover, India's natural resources afresh. We look at a massive campaign for afforestation. I believe there's some 40,000 odd crore rupees lying in a Campa fund, which should be used for afforestation, but is stuck because of judicial control and judicial restrictions on the use of that fund. Now, I wouldn't know the exact nitty-gritties of what goes behind it. I would love to be educated by the luminaries in the conference. But clearly there'll have to be some time-bound, fast action which unlocks all these assets of the country, brings them to good use, looks at how we can expand the forest cover of the country, bring about a correct perspective, balancing development and environment. And to my mind, that is what will help India emerge as a global superpower, go towards a better future for the people of India. On our side, we are making effort to get out of, for example, CFLs, get more and more into LEDs, looking at energy conservation, looking at solar at the rooftops all across the country, looking at replacing all inefficient appliances with better efficient appliances, helping women in the rural India through cook stoves which are environmentally friendly. Now all of these efforts can only be successful if we also simultaneously ensure good jobs for people, ensure people make a good, honest day's living, a livelihood for the people, which can help them then buy clean energy, then buy or invest in good housing, have a better lifestyle, and become more environmentally conscious citizens of India. Of course, we have very recently in the budget once again doubled the coal cess because this government believes dirty energy will have to pay for clean energy. And the coal cess, which was 50 rupees 9 months ago, is today 200 rupees per ton. And as we expand coal production, we will see nearly 30,000 crores coming every year as a tax on coal, which is an internationally accepted norm that you tax fossil fuel and use that fund to encourage renewable energy. That $6 billion, $5 billion will help us speedily take forward the message of renewable energy, expand our efforts to clean the Ganga, about which both Justice Swatantra Kumar and Ranjit Kumarji spoke. I am fairly confident that in the days to come, we will all together, and I agree with you, Justice Swatantra Kumar, it cannot be an effort only of the courts or of the government. It will have to be a national movement. Even when Prime Minister Modi spoke about Swachh Bharat or a toilet in every home, it is nothing but a part of a clean environment. There can be no denying that a toilet in every home will impact the environment, will impact the health of every Indian far more than any other program that the country has undertaken. And towards that end, I would appeal to all of you to participate towards a cleaner India, India which is more dignified for the women, for the poor, for the rural people, an India which enables every human being to live a life of dignity. Very often people complain about coal. Since I'm also the Minister for Coal, I'd just like to share with you a small piece of information which I read actually in the car from the airport coming to this place just now. Japan, which is considered one of the foremost in the Western world in terms of development, clean energy, and had gone nuclear in a large way, has now gone back to coal-fired power. They have started plans to set up 7,260 megawatts of coal-fired power plants, which will come up in the next few years because they're trying to phase out their nuclear sources of power after the Fukushima incident. And they've written, the Wall Street Journal has reported this, they have written that ultimately power has to be affordable for industry and for the people, and power being the cheapest source, which in their currency is at 7.5 yen to a unit, against nuclear at 9 yen to a unit, or gas at 11 yen to a unit, oil fired at 19 yens to a unit. They have recognized that we will have to go back to coal and are now setting up coal-based power plants. So, end of the day, one will have to balance the affordability, the ability to generate cheap, affordable power, along with our effort to have green and clean power. So dirty energy and clean energy will have to coexist. The United States of America till today uses over 65% fossil fuel for its electricity requirement. For all the pontification and all the big words that you hear in the newspapers. The United States of America in 1860, 150 years ago, used to consume the amount of coal that India consumes today on a per capita basis. 0.5 tons per capita was their consumption 150 years ago. And they used the 150 years of low-cost power to develop their country, to build roads, to build highways, to have ports, airports, industries, homes for every citizen in America. Now, having met their development needs, it's very easy to tell Indians or India that now you take care of the environment. We have messed around and polluted the world. Now it's your responsibility to clean the world. I don't think that's acceptable. They will have to recognize India's own development imperatives, while we, as I said, believe in a clean environment. We also believe in jobs. We also believe in economic growth and development of the people of India. But we will do it right. We'll do it sensibly. We'll balance all of these and make sure that we not only serve the people's requirements, but we also take care of the environment in the process. If I've said something that may not have been palatable to any of you honorable justices or the international delegates, I would seek your pardon. But sometimes, as Al Gore said, the truth is inconvenient. It's not only for the environment, but it could go against the environment also. But what is important is convenient action, which Prime Minister Modi speaks about. And I can assure you, this government stands for convenient, honest and sincere action to leave behind a better planet for all of you. Thank you very much.
Action for creating and maintaining a sustainable environment is Right Honorable Justice Shri T.S. Thakur, and I request